Hello my lovely ladies, welcome back to Angel Talks. I'm Angel, welcome if you're new. Yes, I do own makeup. That is my makeup desk. But today my mum has bravely said that she wants to help me film a video on a subject that hits very close to home for us. She's going to help me make a video on teenage pregnancy, specifically her experience. She's currently on the phone, so we're going to film in a few minutes. Please don't please don't hate on her, because obviously this is a very difficult subject to talk about. She's going to be talking, she's going to be sharing some stories obviously, and she's also going to be answering your guys' questions, so please be respectful. She doesn't have to do this, but she's chosen to. And on Friday, I'm not going to talk about that yet, I'll talk about that at the end of the video, so I hope you enjoy this video. Please don't send my mum hate, and thank you for watching. Okay, hi. So I've already done the intro, you'll be glad to know.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do that with me. So, did you want to introduce yourself first? I've introduced you as mum, but...
Hi. I'm Mum. I'm Ella's mum. My name's Tracy, and I'm going to talk with Ella about the subject of teenage pregnancy, which is very close to my heart.
So I've had some questions sent in. 3 of them have given me permission to mention their names in this video. So I'm just going to kick off with the first one. Kira wants to know, how did you feel when you found out? What were your feelings and emotions?
Denial was the first emotion. Guilt. And I was also happy. The thing is, I was 26 and a half weeks pregnant when I found out I was pregnant. So obviously I was quite shocked as well, but my mind was all over the place. I had so many emotions, and obviously I was scared. I was so young, I was scared.
I had a question saying, when did you find out? So I'm not sure if that meant like what month, like how far gone. Well,
I found out in May 1985 that I was pregnant, and as I said, I was 26 and a half weeks pregnant.
Yeah, because she has given that permission. Gemma was born in August, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was born in August, yeah.
Okay, how did you tell your parents?
I didn't tell them I was pregnant. I just said that I wasn't a virgin, and I'd been putting on some weight, and Baba, Granddad, my dad, said that he wanted me to go to the doctors, and Nan took me, my mum took me, and the doctor examined me and confirmed that I was pregnant, but he thought that I was about 3 months pregnant, and then he went and told Nan. He said, I'm really sorry, but Tracy is pregnant. And then I had Nan crying, so obviously that made me really upset, and she had to tell Baba.
Yeah.
And he was disappointed, he was angry.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a very nice time at all.
Just a quick side note, I've spoken to my nan on this subject, and she said that she felt awful because she feels that as the woman in the relationship, she should have noticed before Baba did. And she said that the amount of times that my mum has said to her, Mum, it's okay, you none of us, other than my mum obviously, should have, well, none of them were meant to notice, because my mum like didn't want anyone to know.
But I was still having periods anyway.
Because yeah. How does that work?
Well, I was still bleeding. Not so much a full period, but spotting. So
that signals implantation, doesn't it?
I obviously thought that I wasn't pregnant.
Okay.
That I was okay. Yeah.
Okay. So did you take the adoption route? As someone's asked me.
Yeah. So my mum and dad said that they didn't want me to ruin my life. That I was only 14, and that I had my whole life ahead of me. So we actually went through with social services and spoke about adoption. And they said that adoption, you'd fill in all the paperwork, and then right up until you gave the baby away, you had the chance to say no. And it was me that had to sign the paperwork. So I agreed that I would give my child up for adoption, and because I thought that's what my mum and dad wanted me to do. And that same day, I went home and I packed my bags, and I said to my mum and dad, "It's my baby, I'm keeping it, and if you don't like it, I'll leave."
Which thankfully didn't happen.
It didn't happen. I kept my baby.
So, how did you hide it in school?
All bigger clothes. But when it was confirmed that I was pregnant, I asked Nan and Baba obviously to go in and speak to the school.
Nan and Baba are my nan and granddad.
So they went in and spoke to my headmaster, and I asked for the whole school to be told at the same time, because I didn't want people pointing the finger. I just wanted it all done and dusted. So I went to a very big school, and the headmaster said, "Oh, it's a bit of a logistical nightmare," and my dad said, "Well, it's tough. This is what she wants, so this is what you've got to do." So he said, "Okay, I'll call an assembly for Monday morning, but I'll do it on one condition: Tracy can't come to school until it's done." So my dad said, "Okay then." So he came home and he said to me, "This is what they're going to do, and you can't go to school until after it's done." I went, "Yeah, right." So while he was doing the assembly, I walked into the school hall, and everybody all looked at me at the same time, and I thought,
Okay, sorry about that. We just had to have dinner. So obviously we were just in the middle of answering one, and you got to everyone just sort of turned around and looked at you when you come in.
yeah. So everyone turned around and looked at me all at once, let out a few of, "Oh, that's her," and then that was it. Everyone knew, no one had to point the finger, and then it turned out there were lots of other girls pregnant as well, but I was just the first one to say anything.
Is that actually true?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, there were 6 of us all together.
Girl power group.
Yeah.
Was it more difficult because of your age?
Obviously, yeah. Very difficult, but I had a lot of support, which helped. Lots of things were more difficult. There was obviously appointments were more difficult because I had to go with somebody.
Oh yeah, because the age to go on your own is 16. So
Some of the midwives and nurses looked down on me because of my age. So that was a little bit difficult, but just rose above it.
Okay, so Michelle has asked, how did your parents react?
My dad was very disappointed, and he didn't speak to me for a long time, and I had to walk behind him, which obviously hurt, but I understood that. My mum, she was just really supportive and helped me as much as she could. And once they've got used to the idea that they were going to be young grandparents and that I was going to be a young mum, they're absolutely fine.
So, how did your family react?
Well, obviously I was very young. My grandparents weren't alive. Not all of them, my granddad was. my granddad called me a few choice names that my dad obviously spoke to him about. My mum told one of my aunties, and she'd just been shopping, and she said over the phone, she said to her, "You what?" And she said, "Tracy's pregnant." And you had this splat, and she dropped half a dozen eggs. And she said to my mum, "Well, she ain't the first, and she won't be the last, and she owes me half a dozen eggs." And then she told another one of my aunties, and she said, "Oh, Tracy's pregnant." And she went, "She ain't." She said, "Yeah, she is." She said, "Oh, wow. Did you want a cup of tea?"
I know which one that was.
So yeah, reacted in different ways. And my dad's side of the family, they were as supportive as my mum's side. Being from a very big family, my mum being from a very big family, they all pulled together. I had a pram, crib. They bought me maternity clothes. So yeah, they reacted really well.
How far gone were you when people found out?
26 and a half weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Did everyone find out then?
Yeah. As soon as it was confirmed, we told people within days, because obviously it was going to happen really quickly. And as I said, when I had my scan and they said how far gone I was, and I said to my mum and dad that I was keeping my baby, and if they didn't like it, I'd leave home. There was no choice then, so we told everybody.
How old is the child now?
35.
She's old now.
She's not old, but she's
We
35.
like to tease each other though about
Yeah,
that.
she's 35 now.
How old were you when he or she was born?
14.
Ouch. How was it done? Did she think you were a sister, like some people do, or did she know from the beginning that you were her mum?
She knew immediately I was her mum. That's the way it should be, I believe. Because otherwise that's more complications for the child when they do eventually find out. But people have different beliefs, and you have to do what's right for you. But she knew immediately I was her mum.
Some poor person said, weird question, I know, but was it planned?
Absolutely not.
I don't think that's a weird question either, because, like, I think some people do sometimes think that.
Yeah.
It's not a weird question to ask, but in most cases it's not planned.
But absolutely not, no.
How do you feel about abortion? Deeper question.
Okay, so if I wasn't 26 and a half weeks pregnant, I would have had a termination, because it would have been the right thing to do. Different people have different beliefs, but you have to do what is right for you. But yes, had I have been 6-7 weeks, I would have had a termination. But the best decision I ever made was to keep my daughter.
If I keep looking up there, everyone, it's because there's a photo of her and her children up there, and that's something that my mum can say, yeah, I did that, I helped that happen, and I guess seeing that, it's all been worth it.
Absolutely, but also we're close in age, and you've also got a really good role model as well.
Yes.
Because even though there's quite an age difference between you two.
They know how much it is.
Yeah, but there is an age difference between you two. She's there for you, whatever, and unconditionally. And you've got a good relationship.
My sister, even though she has 3 kids, there have been times where my mum has messaged her and said that I really needed her, and she's dropped everything and come over to make sure I was okay. And that's how a sister should be, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Well, she doesn't have to drop everything for me,
No.
but a sister should always be supportive.
She's there for you unconditionally.
Yeah. Freddie asked, how did you balance school and the baby at the same time? Because obviously...
So my school were amazing. I went to school for 4.5 days a week. I was allowed to leave earlier each day, just 10 minutes earlier, because I had a bit of a journey. And I went to school at the same time as everybody else. But school were amazing. I had Friday afternoons off. But the father's mum looked after his sister in the morning, and then Nan picked her up at 1 o'clock until I got home at 3:30, and then from 3:30 onwards I looked after her. So I fed her, I bathed her, put her to sleep, did my homework, fed her during the night, got up in the morning at 6 o'clock. If she was awake, I'd feed her, wash her, get her dressed, and then she would go with her other grandma for the morning, and then Nan would pick her up, and I'd do the same every day. And then obviously at weekends she was with me all the time, but I still did my homework, I still did my schoolwork. It was really important, and I did it.
Were you bullied for it?
No, I wasn't bullied. I was called a few names, but so what, they're
Everyone
names.
gets called a few names, even when they're not pregnant.
They were names, and I got caught out. I was one of the ones that got caught out. Everyone was doing it, I got caught. So all of those people that were calling me names, take a long hard look in the mirror, because that could have been you. But you know what? I did a fantastic job, so call me what you like.
Do you still see her or him? That's what someone's asked.
My daughter?
Yeah, they didn't know if it was...
Yeah. See her all the time.
Does she have kids?
She does. She has 3 children.
All of them.
And her husband had 2 children from a previous marriage. So all in all, I've got 5 grandchildren.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to do that one last. Did you use contraception? If so, which one?
I was on the pill. It was called the mini pill then, but I didn't take it properly. It was like 1, 2, skip a few, I'll be alright. But obviously if you're going to use contraception, use it. And the pill has got to be taken every single day. Some of them you've got to take them at certain times of the day. But also make sure he wraps it up, because the pill won't stop you from getting an STI.
Mm-hmm. Does Ella have the same dad as Gemma?
No, they have different dads. Gemma still sees her dad once a month. I still talk to him if I see him.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been really any bad blood between us. But no, different fathers.
Okay, so the last one I wrote, and this is something that I think a lot of people need to hear from someone who is a teen mum. And it says, what advice would you give to someone who thinks they might be pregnant at a young age?
Talk to somebody as soon as you can. Talk to somebody.
No one's gonna.
No
they
one's
might
going to judge you.
but
You're not the first, and you certainly aren't going to be the last. But please, if you take one thing from this, talk to somebody as soon as you can and get the help that you need that's right for you.
Is there anything else that you want to say?
It's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure. But please don't be ashamed. As I said, you're not the first, and you certainly won't be the last.
Okay, last but not least, there was someone who didn't read the question tab properly, and they have written, "What do you think of Ella being a YouTuber?"
She's doing a fantastic job. You're relatable. As I've said to you before, you are really relatable. You're down to earth. And if you're giving people an insight and the knowledge to what they need at the moment, that's all good.
Is there anything else that you want to say? Like any questions that you would have had that you'd like to answer? Because that's the rest. That's the last of them.
No, none whatsoever.
Okay, so I want to thank my mum for coming on, because obviously, even though my mum openly talks about this, sometimes it can be a difficult thing to talk about. So on Friday, Dad's going to be doing a video with me, and that video is going to be paranormal activity stuff, and that's not my mum's cup of tea at all. So I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you're having an amazing evening, day, whatever, and I hope to see you next time. Do you want to say bye with me?
Bye with me.
These aren't edited.